Wall Street Memes Casino
I'm fine.
and Sportsbook.
Andrew McCart, iFLTV, and it's been a while since I've last spoke to Mr. Spencer Fearon. Spencer, first and foremost, how's things, mate?
I'm good. Literally, I just got in from a funeral, so let me just say my massive condolences to one of the Mitchell family. Richard Mitchell's top geezer, and I want any young men who are looking to get married, choose wisely, because this guy, he suffers from I think it was MS. My cousin suffers from, but his wife of like 30 odd years soldiered with him. It was just unreal. You know what I mean? So a massive big up to Carol Mitchell as well. You know what I mean? I love seeing things like that. I mean, it makes you feel good inside. So condolences to their family. But now we can get on with it.
Yeah. I never knew the man, but yeah, prayers for that family. The reason why I wanted to get you, Spencer, is I mean, that 5v, we spoke on the phone a little bit today, and we were discussing the 5v5 card, and I was like, let's jump on an interview and discuss it, because what you were saying was very, very interesting. And what I noticed from your Instagram post is I said that nobody got a 5 out of 5 when they're making them picks, but you were pretty close. 4 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yeah. You know what? Blame Craig Richards. No, but you know what? I didn't, seriously, fair play. I didn't know that Willie Hutchins was that good, because I haven't really watched him. I haven't really seen enough of him, to be honest with you. But you know what? He was a World Games junior champion, right?
Right, yep.
Right. And if I'd have just done a little bit of research, then I would have realized just how good he is. He's a very, very good fighter. I've got to give him all the credit in the world. I'd like to know, I haven't seen much, and this is no slant on Shane McGuigan, but I haven't seen any major improvements with Craig since him joining up with Shane. And you know what? Sometimes that takes a little while for you to get in emotion with a new trainer, and maybe that was. But the one thing I didn't realize with Craig was that he was fighting in straight lines, and as soon as you start doing that, then you're going to be in trouble, especially with someone like Willie, because Willie gives angles. Very, very good fighter, and he's got a very, very bright future, you know.
Well, it looks like it might be Buatsi next for Willie for that WBO status. So yeah, it was a good fight, and to be fair, Spencer, that was the first fight on the card. The card just got better and better and better throughout the night, and the next fight after that was Nick Ball. I've got to say, when you put somebody like Nick Ball against a slick southpaw American style fighter, you know that sort of slick American style that they've got, where they can box off their back foot. Sometimes an aggressive fighter will suit that fighter, but you picked Nick Ball. Why?
The reason why I picked Nick Ball, there was a couple reasons. One is this: I know that Nick Ford's struggling with the weight, right? And I know that boxing is about having a trained eye. The things that Raymond Ford does exceptionally well is how he puts the shots together, but they're eye-catching shots. They're picture-perfect shots, right? Now, picture-perfect can work when somebody's trying to box with you. If someone's trying to fight with you, you can't be that picture-perfect, because they're going to throw punches off tempo. Not only that, but Nick Ball fights off at angles as well. He spins off, he throws uppercuts in really good, throws good overhand power shots really good. And that was the reason why I actually picked Nick Ball to come off victorious. And not only that, but Nick Ball won his last fight out. That should actually been a unification fight. So I'm actually really happy for him, because I love his style. And you can see with that kind of style, you've got to be very careful, because guys who have that style, they only last for about 25 fights, and then they get found out because of the wear and tear that it takes on their body. So, but with him, you can see that he makes the adjustments, and because he makes the adjustments, then it's an honor to know that Britain's got a new world champion, and his name's Nick Ball. Definitely,
and it was an exciting fight, and I agree with you with his last fight against Ray Vargas. I think he should have had that green and gold belt, and
of course he should have, without a doubt.
And he said to me after the post-fight interview, he said, "Listen, I want that green and gold. That's mine." So it seems like he wants that rematch with Ray Vargas.
you know what? Now that he's got a world title as well, and he's an unbeaten fighter because it was a draw against Vargas, he'll come out even more malicious. So I've got him winning that fight, and then Britain could have a unified world champion in the featherweight division.
The next fight on that card was Hamzah Sheeraz, again a fighter that you picked to beat Amo Williams. Amo undefeated, hard hitting southpaw. I mean, it was a tough fight. A lot of people were 50-50 on that fight, and you picked Hamzah, so fair play to you. And Hamzah's, tell you what, in this middleweight division that's screaming for a household name. And although there's world champions, Erislandy Lara, Carlos Damas, I think he's fighting soon. There are good fighters in that division that's screaming for a fighter to take over that division. And could it be Hamzah Sheeraz?
It can be. One thing I will give, with Hamzah Sheeraz is his training team, they are very, very consistent, and they pinpoint little detailed structured things for him to go and do when he goes and fights. And a lot of people saying like, oh, he's Tommy Hearns, He's not. He's a mix between, I would say, Bob Foster, former like heavyweight champion in the 70s. He's a mix between Bob Foster, and he's a mix between Oscar De La Hoya. That's how his style. You got to look how he puts his shots together. But the thing what I like about him is there is not amazing sizzle with him, right? There isn't. There's a lot of steak, but it's well cooked. Do you know what I mean? And he boxes with a mature mind, and that's why I like him. I like him a lot. I think the stars are the limits for him. The reason why I picked him is because I rate Amo Williams, but Amo Williams hasn't been consistently fighting, right? And I remember being at the 5v5 press conference that they had a few months back in London with His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh, and they brought out Roberto Duran, and it was really cool. Right, and I was watching that, and as I'm watching that, and I'm saying to myself, after the press conference was finished, Eddie Hearn kind of went to Amo like, yeah, we got this. Like Hamzah Sheeraz doesn't know what he's in for, and I said that's a terrible mistake to make, because I was looking at that and I'm saying maybe you guys don't know what Amo's in for. Amo's a really nice kid as well. If you look on his style of boxing with Amo, he reminds me a lot of Davey Moore, the former WBA. The super welterweight champion who got beat by Roberto Duran for his WBA crown. Was that 83, I believe, right?
As well, Davey Moore. Did he fight Leonard as well?
No.
Oh.
Davey Moore did. Davey Moore fought Ayab Kalule. Leonard fought Ayab Kalule. That's where you get in the mix. You're on the same page. You're kind of
I'm thereabouts, yeah.
You're two fights. Don't worry, you're two fights out, but don't worry about that.
I'm not the knowledge yet. I'm not there yet, Spencer.
No, you know what? Let me tell you this now. I want people to realize. You see, like, fights that happened last week, I'm really shit on them. So don't worry about it. So in years to come, you'll be up on it. Don't worry.
Oh, perfect. I'll take that.
Yeah, right. So he does. He reminds me of Davey Moore, Amo Williams, and he also reminds me of Iron Barkley. Very similar. And Iron Barkley and Davey Moore are really good friends from New York. So if you see that style of fighting, I rate him. He's a good fighter. I do rate him. So Hamzah getting that win, we really do have to rate Hamzah Sheeraz as a real star in the process, and a real and possibly a future world champion, inshallah. Well,
he called out Chris Eubank Jr. immediately after the fight.
Chris Eubank Jr. is not gonna take that fight. Right? I'm just gonna be real. Hamzah Sheeraz isn't a big enough name. Let's be real. He's growing into a name, but he's not a big enough name. And Chris Eubank Jr. is now looking like, listen, I need big fights to make big money, right? And the only big fight for Chris Eubank Jr. right now is getting a bit tiresome, but it would be Conor Ben, and that possibly could happen out in Saudi Arabia, but we'll see.
Like I say, he's now prime position for that WBC middleweight world title. I've got to ask, Spence, some people might have thought that you picking Daniel Dubois to beat Filip Hrgovic might just be a little bit of going with your heart rather than your head, but you know what? Exactly. You basically called it almost, and there was a reason for it. And I just wanted you to explain why you thought that Daniel Dubois. We spoke about on the phone call. We spoke about his confidence, and I just want to talk. You tell me, how confident is this young man right now in this heavyweight division, Daniel Dubois?
Let me tell you this now, right? Don Charles has a part to play, but simply because, and there was a time in there where Don said, "Are you listening?" I said, "Yeah, I'm listening. Tell me what you're gonna say." Went off on him, right? But I'm gonna let people know now. The real turning point in Daniel Dubois is him being with Don Charles, right? Because I think Don Charles knows how to relate to him better, right? Because if you look on Daniel Dubois, he's a very reclusive young man. He's not outwardly boisterous and all the rest of it. So I think now he's got somebody that will pander to him, and you got to think Daniel Dubois knows the basics really, really well of boxing. He knows the basics, right? Really well. On another level, he knows the basics really well because that is all he's done, right? He was homeschooled and he trained for boxing. Homeschooled, trained for boxing. Homeschooled, trained. That was it. It's been his life, right? But then what would happen is when things start to go wrong with you and people going out calling you triple knee, because they're saying like he took more knees than Black Lives Matter because he quit against Joe Joyce and he quit against Usyk and blah. You still have to remember he's still a kid, right? That's number one. Because when he lost to Joe Joyce, I thought he was done. I thought he was finished, right? But how he's come back, the win against Miller was a very good win, right? But you got to take into consideration it was Gerard Miller, right? It was Big Baby Miller, right? So not really, but this Hrgovic win, because he was the underdog, I just had a feeling because I had one of my fighters go in and spar with him, right? And it was a good spar. And I could see the things that he's working on. And with Don Charles has got him moving his head now. And it's kind of weird. He's like kind of like a bigger version of kind of like a Mike Tyson head movement. But then there's also reminiscent of a guy who was like in the late 90s, early 2000s, Ike Iyabuchi, the Nigerian heavyweight, who was an excellent fighter, who actually ended up going to jail. But there's similarities with Daniel Dubois because of physique. But now he's boxing with a new spurt of confidence. And for somebody who started off, he was kind of slow. Now he's not. He's punching very fast. He ate right hands from Hrgovic like there was nothing. And the reason why I was choosing him is because Hrgovic had been lacklustered in a couple of his fights since his father passing away. And because he'd been lacklustered, as much as you say, oh, your dad's football, it's a big one now, you got to jump on it. He did. He tried to boss Daniel, and Daniel wasn't having it. And that's got a lot to do with his dad being very close to the corner as well, because his dad is like Joe Jackson. I'm telling you that now. Because all of his kids box, right? And all of his kids are very good at boxing, right? So that's down to the dad. And so him having his dad close, his dad shouting out instructions, as well as the work that Don Charles has done. Also, was it Kevin Farrell as well? Who's in his corner?
Kieran Farrell.
Sorry, my apology. Kieran Farrell as well. Yeah, I mean, all the credit in the world should be given. So I knew that he was going to come out victorious.
Spencer, I will circle back to this because there is talks of Daniel Dubois and Anthony Joshua happening at Wembley in September. Now, we'll circle back.
It's going to happen, but we'll circle back on it.
Definitely it will happen. I think there's going to be a press conference we spoke about in 2 weeks, but I will circle back to this after we talk about Zhang versus Wilder. I'll start on Wilder. Time to retire?
Number one is this. Before everyone's, I'm just going to be real, yeah? What's Zhang's trainer's name? I've forgotten his name, man. What's his name?
No, it's... I forgot his name as well, man.
All right. Let me tell you this now, right? I just want people to listen to me. And this is not me throwing any mud at Malik Scott, right? Well, you saw my Instagram post. When you're doing all this Michael Jackson spinning thing, right? Number one is this. To do that move in boxing is actually illegal, right? You cannot turn your back on a fighter. That's number one, right? What I'm trying to say is this. Boxing is complicated simplicity, right? Because certain things are complicated, but if you know how to do it, it's very easy. It's second nature. You do not need to try and reinvent the wheel, right? And with Malik Scott, I saw when Deontay Wilder got knocked out. I didn't like this, so I have to speak about it. And I like Malik, right? He don't answer his phone when people phone him, so I'm going to speak on here. I did not like the fact that Deontay Wilder got knocked out, and your first point of call was to go and congratulate Zhang's trainer, even though you've known him for years. What kind of foolishness is that?
Sean George.
Your first point of call.
Sean George.
Your first point. Sorry, sir. What did you say?
Sean George is. It just came to me there. Zhili Zhang, Sean George. That's how it is.
Sean George. Yeah. Nice guy. Really nice guy. Cool guy. I like how he rolls, right? But your first point of call isn't Sean George. Your first point of call is your fighter who you're with, and your fighter who's put you on the map in Deontay Wilder. That was it. So I didn't like that. You know what I mean? And maybe you were disappointed by what you saw with Deontay Wilder, but still, you turn up with your fighter, you leave with your fighter, and the major thing is that you want your fighter to come out in the best condition. I did not like that at all. I just said it. If you want to take grudge from it, it's your business. I don't care. I've said it. I found that disgusting. And this is the world of boxing right now. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that Malik Scott's not a good trainer. Not saying that, right? I would just like to see your body of work. What I am going to say is that you are a very, very good orator. You can speak boxing, right? But I knew that there's something missing with Deontay Wilder. And even more so, it's missing, especially after his knockout win of Hrgovic. And then he was speaking, he started crying. He's very emotional and all the rest of it. And this is changed from the person who was screaming that he wants a body on his record. So maybe it's been those 3 fights with Tyson Fury has taken something out of Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, right? Or it could be the fact that you are in a different emotional space. You're on this ayahuasca trip, this kind of, you know what I mean, this emotional journey, you know what I mean, that has, you know what I mean, that's changed you. So I wouldn't want to see Deontay Wilder get hurt because we know what Deontay Wilder does. Deontay Wilder is crash, bang, wallop. More times he could be losing a fight. And then what he does, he pulls it out, boom, knocks him out, right? Now, why would you want to try and change that guy to say, right, we're going to try and get longevity out of him? Bro, he's been boxing for a very, very long time. People seemingly have forgotten that he went to the 2008 Olympics, the same Olympics. You get what I'm trying to say? The 2008 Olympics he went to. So let's call it as it is. You know what I mean? And unfortunately, we're not calling it as it is.
Interesting. I didn't notice that because obviously I was ringside. I've not watched that fight back. So yeah, that's a very interesting point there, Spencer. Yeah. Zhili Zhang though, he's 40-year-old, but he's a 6'6" southpaw, 280 pounds.
He's a problem for anybody. You know what I mean? He's a problem for anybody because he actually understands fighting. But he can be outboxed. We saw that against Josie Parker. You can be outboxed. And furthermore, I'm just calling it as it is. He beat Hrgovic and he got robbed, right? So Zhili Zhang's a problem. And you know what? And this I'm going to tell you on the real, yeah? The most refreshing thing for boxing right now is Turkey Al-Sheikh, all right? You know why? Because Tyson Fury could have got that decision a few weeks ago, right? He didn't get the decision. The most refreshing thing is that, all right then, everybody wants to protect the bag. Turkey Al-Sheikh realized that Saudi Arabia is the bag. You reach there, you've made it, right? So therefore, let's have this. And Turkey Al-Sheikh could be the person. Just like we have a FIFA governing body over all of football, that we could have a governing body, you know what I mean, over professional boxing. It could start off in Saudi Arabia, right? Because it's kind of going that way anyway. So he could be the governing body. And the thing what I like about Turkey Al-Sheikh is just like that kid Zidane who loses to Bivol, coming at late notice, loses to Bivol, but Turkey Al-Sheikh seems to be a compassionate human being. He said, no, don't worry, I'm going to bring you back, right? So that old adage of like when I'm saying, well, you know, in this professional boxing, you are chewing gum. Because as soon as you lose that taste of that Hubba Bubba delicious, you spit it out, or that Wrigley Spearmint gum, you spit it out, Now here is a man now that say, no, it's not about that.
Mm.
You know what I mean? You show me that you're here to fight, and I will reward you for it. And for that, then I have to salute everything that Turki Al-Sheikh's doing. Humbly have to salute what he's doing. You know what I mean? I've been fortunate to have the experience when it all kicked off in October, right? Which was amazing. It was seriously, I've never had anything like that. And I knew from there that was too high. Like every other show now ain't gonna reach to that was mad. But you know what? As a boxing fan, we're getting the fights that we want to see. Reason why? Because Turki Al-Sheikh saying, yeah, that'd be a good fight. Yeah, let's make it. Good. And it's done. Then he goes out to his guys to make it happen, and it happens. What greater thing is that? That's super.
I said that to Spencer Brown. I said, Spencer, see October when we had Fury and Ngannou, it seems like boxing's done a complete 180 from that date in October to now. All the fights we've had, the heavyweight division was on lockdown with Wilder, Fury, and Anthony Joshua, maybe Usyk in there, and that was it. We were only talking about 4 heavyweights. Now we can talk about Ajit Kabayao. Now we can talk about all these other Daniel Dubois fighting Joshua, Zhang, Martin Bakoli, who I spoke to today, who says he wants to fight Zhilei Zhang. It's like now we're like we're getting all the fights, which is exciting. It just seems like it's only been 7 months and boxing's done a complete 180.
It has done a complete 180, and like I'm saying, I really do hope that they start their own governing body, right? They start their own governing body, right, where everyone gets a fair shake, and it seems that way, where decisions are fair, and guys will have the reason being is because when this is how it goes, you have an unseen bias that makes things complicated within boxing simply because judges and referees and everybody, they know where they're getting their money from. They know where they're getting paid from. They're getting paid from the promoter. This is not the same now. You're getting paid from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It is different. Do you know what I mean? So you're not somewhere seeped in your subconscious thinking, oh, I've got to kind of do things to, and you do, because there's an unseen bias. You do. I don't care what anybody's saying, you do, right? That's being done with now. And that's the beautiful thing about this, right? And I truly do believe that Turki Al-Sheikh can make boxing great again. Right?
Get some hats made up. Boxing great again.
Yeah, make boxing great again. That's what he's doing. I'm going to wear that red hat. Well, it's actually going to be a black hat, but that's another thing. All right, cool.
Listen, I said I would circle back to it, Spencer, so I am going to circle back to it. Daniel Dubois versus Anthony Joshua. Frank Warren's came out and says talks have begun. Now, me and you are probably thinking it's going to get made. I mean, 2 British heavyweights fighting in September.
Bro, the fight's done. Don't let no one back. Oh, the talks. There's no talk in it. The fight's done.
Hey, the fight's done.
You know what I mean? The only thing that talks are the logistics about the financing. The fight is done. Believe you me, the fight's done.
Right, let's talk about then, because I saw that Tunde on your show basically said that Daniel Dubois beating Anthony Joshua. Now, sometimes there's levels in this game. Sometimes he's only 26, Daniel Dubois. Maybe he's not in his prime yet. Joshua with Ben Davison seems like he's in his prime. I just want to get with Tunde, if you can break down Tunde's mind for me and find out where he's coming from, why he said that Dubois can beat Joshua.
Bro. The complexities of Babatunde Ajayi's mind, right? If I tried to break that down, my phone would explode. I'm saying to you that Tunde was Daniel Dubois' first trainer, and he knows Daniel Dubois' punching power. He knows Daniel Dubois. He knows that Daniel Dubois has been bred for this moment, and he's actually finding himself under the tutelage of Don Charles and the fact that they're allowing his father to be closer in the camp, right? I don't think that was the case when he was with the Bowers, or definitely wasn't the case when he was with the McGuigans, right? But now that he's kind of let off the reins, we're seeing a different Daniel Dubois, right? But this thing is also about experience. And this is no slant on Ben Davison, right? But Ben Davison is the right man for Anthony Joshua, simply because they are learning and growing together. But one thing that I give Ben Davison He's very cocksure in the limited experience, right? But the self-belief and confidence, because he psychoanalyzes and he's meticulous to detail. That's why I have to rate this guy. He's very meticulous to detail, right? So he can break down things. Anthony Joshua will compute it and say, right, this is what I got to go do. What makes Anthony Joshua so good is that he's so athletic, and he's saying, let's stick to what we got. Let's stick to, we got this, but we got our guns. We got our guns. We got that right hand, but he doesn't just throw a right hand. People say, oh, well, that is his right hand. He's got a right hand and a left hook, right? So that's what makes this fight really good, right? That's what makes this fight really good. But what we noticed with Daniel Dubois in his last 2 fights, he's got a bloody engine on him, right? He's got an engine on him, right? So it's a good fight, but Daniel Dubois is not a concussive puncher. Anthony Joshua is. So Daniel Dubois cannot get caught with them right hands from Anthony Joshua that he got caught with the other day from Hrgovic. I don't care how mentally tough you are, you know what I mean? Water rolls rock, right? But it's a great fight. And what I'm trying to say to you is, we go back, what was it? 94, October 94 it was. Was it 94 or 93? Lennox Lewis versus Frank Bruno, right? It was a really good fight. But Lennox Lewis was getting outboxed by Frank Bruno. Nobody ever thought that we'd see that. And Lennox Lewis was getting outboxed by Frank Bruno until Lennox Lewis clapping with the left hook. You go on, David Haye versus Audie Harrison wasn't competitive. Right? No disrespect. Dylan White versus Tyson Fury wasn't competitive. And that's no disrespect to Dylan, that's my guy. Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury wasn't competitive. This is the most competitive British heavyweight championship of the world, with 2 Brits fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world ever. It is going to be competitive, right? It's going to be competitive. And it's going to be a rough and tumble rumble. And I'm looking forward to that fight. I'm actually sitting down, like rubbing my hands, because we've seen this new Daniel Dubois now. But we're also seeing a new Anthony Joshua. But we're not seeing a new Anthony Joshua. We are seeing a recycled Anthony Joshua with better packaging. It's a great fight.
It's a great fight, and I totally agree with you. But I'll ask you then, can Daniel Dubois beat Anthony Joshua? After both men's recent performances, the coaches, everything you just explained there, can Daniel Dubois beat Anthony Joshua?
In heavyweight boxing, anything is a possibility, but you have to favor Anthony Joshua to go and do the business on Daniel Dubois. I think Daniel Dubois is going to be the next generation of heavyweights. That's what I believe. Because when you think on when Anthony Joshua lost in fights, he lost to a complete and utter wizard of a boxer twice in Alexander Usyk, and the second time was split decision. And if you go and watch that fight, Anthony Joshua actually acquitted himself well. So people just went over it so much because of what happened after the fight, right? But if you go and watch, his loss to Andy Ruiz can really punch. I want people to realize that, yeah?
Fast.
The reason, he can really punch. I remember Lennox Lewis, who sat ringside at one of Andy Ruiz's fights when he's doing the commentary for PBC. And he said you can hear the whoop, whoop of the shots when he's throwing the punches. So obviously, the guy can punch, man. He can really, really punch. So he's also those two. Daniel Dubois isn't a concussive knockout artist. He don't hit you and you're gone. He hits you and he hurts you. He breaks things into you. He's punching power tests your character. So you ask yourself, do you really want to be there? Right? And I do believe that going later down the stretch, he could get a fatigued Anthony Joshua and beat Anthony Joshua. But really and truly, I have to be real with you, Anthony Joshua has to be the favorite in this fight. Reason why Anthony Joshua has to be the favorite in this fight, because I was fortunate. I've been around both of the guys in the camp, but I was fortunate enough to be in the camp 2 weeks ago with Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's in a good place. And if Anthony Joshua is in a good place, the whole world is in trouble.
Interesting. It's going to be this whole concept as well. It's going to be another 5v5 on this September show. Another Frank Warren versus Eddie Hearn, and I enjoyed that 5v5. I love the whole concept, Spencer. I really do.
Yeah, Yep. You know what? I'm just being real. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder which fights they're going to go and make on this 5v5. But I'm really, really looking forward to it because, like I said, Turkey Al Sheikh is shaking up boxing literally, and like we have to be humbled enough to turn around and say His Excellency because what he's doing for boxing is excellent.
Definitely. I want to get your quick thoughts on it. Just a quick one. We've got 7 minutes left on the Zoom here. You know
right.
you know Frank Warren. You know that Eddie Hearns, he talks about winning and winning and winning for his company and stuff like that. I know he was joking with the post-fight, but deep down, how bad is he hurting? How badly is he hurting after that 10-0 drubbing?
Eddie Hearn, let me tell you this about Eddie Hearn. I've known Eddie Hearn for years. Eddie Hearn is ruthlessly competitive. But the thing with him, he's ruthlessly competitive with a smile. So he won't show you what he's feeling. But I know deep down inside that's burning him, right? Because one thing I got to give Eddie Hearn, yeah, when he's got a fighter, no matter who his fighter could be fighting King Kong. He believes that his fighter's going to win. That is Eddie Hearn, right? And you know, the first time that I really remember that, the time that I really remember, I think it was it 2016? When, well, it could be even before then. It could be even before then. When did Carl Frampton fight Scott Quigg?
That was either 2019, 2018. I think it was.
It was that late?
No, 2018. I want to go with. I'm going to go for.
You know what? I told you I'm really crap with up-to-date fights. I don't know the dates of them. I'm 50s and 60s, 70s. I'll kill anyone. 80s, forget about it. Right? But in that fight, yeah, I want you to know this. In that fight, I remember the British Border Control, not British Border Control, the British Boxing Sport Writers had their dinner at the Savoy. I was at the dinner and it was pretty close at that time because I know the fight was around about February, right?
Because I was in New York when he won a Writers in 2017, so it might have been 2017 or 16.
2017.
Yeah, because
right.
I remember being in New York.
I know for a fact that it was February, right? I can remember that because I remember where I watched the fight. And it was kind of warm. It was warm for February. It was a warm evening. I remember watching it down in the West End. And I remember just before then seeing Eddie Hearn at the Sports Writers do, and he was adamant that Scott Quigg was going to win, right? And I was adamant that Carl Frampton was going to win. Adamant that he was going to win, right? And I said, deep down, do you really think that? And I said, and that's why I said, you know what, I'll give you your ratings because he's your guy. I said, believe me, Spencer, he's going to bait him. Believe me, he's going to, right? I'm like, brother, it's me you're talking to. You're not talking to no fans on Twitter. It's me you're talking to. You can't come chat to me about this thing. I said, Carl Frampton's gonna whoop him. But that's the kind of competitiveness that Eddie Hearn has inside of him, right? And I know that is burning him. Seriously, I know that one is burning him. And then he's gonna have to go get his new troopers now. Imagine you went and got Deontay Wilder. You should have come and talked to me before he did that one. I said, bro, forget about it, right? So Eddie Hearn, that's burning him. And because he's so competitive, and this was great for boxing, right? Because this next show now with Joshua, allegedly Anthony Joshua's going to make £40 million for this fight, right? Trust me, Eddie Hearn's going to come with a proper squad. He's going to come with a proper squad. I'm looking forward to that as well. This is a great time for boxing. I just love sitting back down and watching and taking it all in.
Me too, Spencer. I cannot wait for it. Like I said to you, we've got that in September. We've got so much going on in October. We've got November. We've got the rematch for Undisputed, or maybe not the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship, but the rematch with Usyk and Fury. Yeah, it's exciting times ahead, and I'll get you on a call again, no doubt, to break it all down, Spencer, because it's been fun speaking to you again, brother.
And before I go, let me just say a massive big up to Spencer Brown of Gold Star. He phoned me yesterday. We had a fabulous talk, and I know greater things are going to be happening. He's doing some stuff what's going on, which I'm not permitted to talk about, but I've got to big him up. So big up Spencer Brown as well.
I agree. Spencer, you're the man. Spoke to you out in Saudi the last few times I've been out there, man. You're a top man. And yeah, thanks for everything you do for me as well, Spence. But listen, Spencer.
All right, bro.
Speak to you soon, brother. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll catch up with you soon.
All right, you take care. God bless.
Wall Street Memes Casino.
I'm fine.
and sportsbook.